Me, right, Jim?
Yes.
All right.
LARS Underwood.
Yes.
Hey, Brad.
Listening to all this is great. And especially listening to Dave and people that have known him longer. I can't imagine what would have happened if I'd have known him when I was young and virulent enough to really go off and, like, if I knew him in '82. Wow. Yeah,
He was different then.
this would have gotten rough.
He was different then.
Well, I know, but I mean, we could have been off anywhere. But I was still finishing school, high school.
Not that much different.
Yeah. So I met him finally because Tom and Rob used to come to my bar, maybe Dave sometimes, lots of other people, and they always said, "Oh, I don't think you should meet Ken Brown. We don't know what would happen," but they would always talk about it. I don't remember exactly how we first finally met. I guess it was out for drinks somewhere, and then the next thing I know, then he's reading Day of the Deadbeats, which I organized for years. And, we became close, I guess, sometimes. And we definitely respected each other's writing. I invited him to read at some of my readings, and he would show up, and, I was just busy doing a lot of other things, and I don't know, you go through life and you do things when you can, and you don't get to know people as well as you should maybe, but finally one day, I knew he had this project going on where he wanted to write with me, and then we just passed a book back together. And we're sitting on his front porch, drinking whiskey and water, and so I'm going to read quite a few of these, and I think, we ripped these off in an hour and 15 minutes. It was fucking stupid, and it was scary to him. He made me stop. He was like, "I can't believe we're doing this. Why are we doing this?" He wanted to hold hands and sing, and wanted to go do something else. I'm like, well, let's just keep, pushing on. I think we ended up going to Famous Bar and drinking some more, or maybe that was another time, Anyway, and I've read these on the radio. We were on the radio together talking to Ann Hodrick and other people about the project. But so I've got quite a few of these. I'm going to start with that, and finally, when the last of you leaves the room, I'll stop reading. Probably my favorite, I don't know why, this one's called Flowers for Bastards. This is one of the ones that came out of our efforts that day. 10 high in water. Flowers for Bastards. Bin Laden, watching anorexic porn, gets born again by the Bin Laden who approaches all his masters. Canoeing through the cinema, teardrops while he makes a Rubik's Cube of all her flowers for the bastards. I didn't realize that was there. This one has two versions. It's called Buddy Ebsen's Heartache. So some of these we couldn't decide on. Version one is, "I got a box full of laborsome tries. All the shit she saved, I shriveled. And Larry was going mad at the top of his game, pissing his genius on evil ignorance. A sea of moist eyeballs explained it." I think he liked this one better. Version 2. "I got a box full of shit she saved, then shriveled, and Larry was going mad. She brought out a bushel of laborsome tries, which I had crumpled then forgotten. We drove off, jealous of each other's stupidity, and Larry was going mad. He was at the top of his game, pissing away his genius on ignorance. A sea of moist eyes explained it." Okay. "Who wants to be a stupid heir? We're in this car crash fate of new sensations. It's like we're burning cords of corpses. It was a how to go broke, get rich, then go back broke kind of a deal. The circle of life in a 2-hour nutshell. The tree isn't how it's supposed to be. Recycled diarrhea and expository blather in the lather of an early morning shave. He saw it in the mirror. and then he popped his daily pill. This one has two versions too, but I think we finally agreed on the first one. And as you know, Ken was cyber sober, so I made a suggestion that we call this "Why Mice Book Traps Your Rats," like MySpace, Facebook, blah blah. This was back in the day that Facebook was still. Why Mice Book Traps Your Rats. Disappointments disappear with the appearance of appointments, broken underneath the snores from the master of neglected ceremonies, cracked beneath the acorn of a squirrel who shot celluloid miracles in candlelight dog whistles, like saber-toothed tigers in a battle of French kisses and a shower of shallowisms with crazy mad mother. But first an idle moment to test the fates, poring over the booze, the do's and don'ts, the ain'ts, the smell, the ooze, dashing hopes of dopey calendar twits who have begun to stir their sinks with a thesaurus. Postcoital drinks for change, or Thuck First, Link Thader. Flea flickers pass through the night in the parking lot after the rodeo blinks off the light in the aftermath of nowhere where the passer stands, shuffling into the pocket for some change to bring the postcoital drinks on a late Monday night.
Oh, who was playing that night?
This is all Saturday afternoon. Okay, so this is the one, I believe we started this with Soulier, Joe Soulier. He's on tour now, he's a punk rock motherfucker. And I wish he could be here tonight, because man, the article he wrote about Ken and the RFT, just about getting to know, and right. Joe's still that motherfucker. He's still punching through the hearts of everything that he hates, so. I think we started this, maybe you and Jim and maybe you and Joe and I started this at and I'm pointing at Jim, at Foam one day when he was working.
Yeah.
And then did we take off and go to Famous Bar where we maybe ran into Dave and Rob and maybe Tom Flood was there? I don't remember, but this is, I think, what became, yeah, because there's Bloody Mary in it, and I always associate Famous Bar with Bloody Marys. Bloody Mary absolutely pissed at the Famous Bar. Cornelius put his think on a wrinkle, then hung his laundry out to dry. His weenus wasn't working well, so he told a bunch of lies about it. Didn't work too well to vomit, and now it did. An ounce of ding-a-ling, a bit of acid. Still waiting, the last fall of autumn exploded into birthing without winter, to the chagrin of the bitch in the green dress, pissed on vodka. It's brutal. I think that is, yeah, those are, oh, and so there's one here that we didn't finish. It says Brown, Soulier, and Underwood. It's like, we wrote this, here it is. The truth absconds like a wounded deer, afraid that its life took a bullet from a madman who left his wife with nothing, stumbled into traffic, frozen in nostalgia, between war and peace. The fan you have will cut your fucking hand off. He put her face on and applauded with the glad hand and a smirk of triumph. Dumb, perhaps, but not defeated. So, yes, those are good things to just throw together and read now. I have written for a while, and I'm going to read some of my own stuff. And like I said, when there's nobody left, then I'll stop. And if you want to buy a book, it's $5.
What's the name of that book?
This one's called It's Bush Lent Subtle Hints. It's got a little bit of stuff. You know what I should mention too? I'm the videographer for this project, so